Hello, dear students. This is Bachelor of Fashion Technology program in which we have a subject Elements of Fashion and Design for first year in Akkamahadevi Women's University, Vijaypura. So today's topic will be tools and equipments of drawing and painting, which will be dealt by me, Dr. Namrata M, Assistant Professor in Fashion Technology Department, Government First Aid College for Women, Dharwad. So, the learning objective of today's session will be that the students should gain knowledge of tools and equipments which are used for drawing, and they should understand their application and should know how they are classified. In the last session, we have already learned about art media. Art media is nothing but the material which are used by an artist. Basically, it's whatever you use to make a mark upon a surface. That is, the tools and equipments are nothing but the art media. So, in today's session, we are learning about tools and equipments which are required for drawing. A variety of special tools, equipments, and materials are used in art, design, and communication that are often expensive and require special care. So, these tools and equipments require special care. That's why these tools and equipments are divided into school or student grade and artist grade. School supplies may be shared among many students. Every student is responsible for making sure supplies are handled carefully, stored properly, and not wasted. It's the responsibility of the student not to waste the tools and equipments, and also they should store them properly. Craftspeople and artists create objects and designs by using a variety of tools, equipments, and materials in creative way. These tools and equipments can be used in a creative way when you know the application of these. Materials come in huge range of colors, textures, strength, flexibility level, cost and availability levels. And some materials require the use of specific tools and equipment in order to know or in order to work with them. So, these tools and equipments are very important for drawing. We have many different types of tools and equipments. Students should use them properly without wasting them. So, let us learn different tools and equipments required for drawing. The first one will be they are segregated into different types. First one will be dry materials which are used for making the marks. First one among them, dry materials are pencils, pencil crayons, charcoals, contact crayons, chalk pastels, oil pastels, wax crayons, and so on. So these dry materials, example pencils and charcoal, are used separately or in combination. Mixing media often produces richer surfaces and more complex drawings. Try using several art media or dry media together or using wet and dry together. Using different types of medias together is called as mixed media. So you have seen pencil crayons, charcoal, crayon, chalk, pastel crayons. All these are dry materials which are used for making mark on the paper or on the sheet where you want to draw. So these pencils are used to make the mark or for sketching. These are dry materials. So let us learn about pencil. A pencil has a tip which is known as graphite or pencil or lead or plastic lead, and it has a wood casing which you sharpen it with the sharpener, and at the end you have a metal cap or the metal cap in has an eraser. So this pencil is you have different types of pencils. It is divided into different types. you have hardest, medium to softest. So 6H, H is meant by hardest and B is meant by softest. HB is the medium, or HB pencil is the normal pencil which is used for writing. When you want to when you want to shade, you use B pencil, and the hardest pencil H is used for sketching, so for outlining or delicate drawings. You have wet materials which are used for marking. Example, ink or Indian ink, ballpoint pens, felt pens, markers, paints, etc. In paints, you have acrylic, watercolor, tempera, poster, oil, etc. So these are different types of inks or wet materials which are used for making the marks. Wet materials, example paint and ink, can be used separately or in various combinations. As we have seen in dry materials, you can use the wet materials and dry materials together to make mixed media. This mixing media often produces richer surfaces and more complex drawings. Try using several media together or using wet and dry together. So you might have seen sketching, or even when you are sitting in a classroom, you'll be sketching in the with the ink pen or with the ballpoint pen. So the outline is drawn with a ballpoint pen, and the inner marking can be done with the markers. You have fluorescent colors in the markers and you have ample number of colors in the markers. These wet and dry painting materials will be seen in the next session. So these are tools used to apply wet and dry materials. Pens, brushes, stomps, tortillons, rollers, airbrush, palette knife, and you have several found objects. Many other objects also can be used for marking. Many different tools are used to make marks with various different materials and media. Using a variety of common tools as well as interesting and unique found objects can enhance creativity and lead to new effects. For example, even the knife can be used for painting. When you have the sharp edges, it can be for etching, you can use the knife. The ink pens you have for outlining, for even shading, you can use the ink pens. You have the rollers when you want to. When you are doing the bigger paintings, you can even use the rollers. You have brushes of different types. So the brush has the whole brush is divided into three different parts. You have at the tip you have fibers. The fibers may be uh, natural fibers or even the synthetic fibers, and you have the gripper, that is ferrule, and at the last you have a wooden handle. It is called as handle. You can use brush for painting, for outlining and all. You can use pens for painting the larger surface area. You can use brush rollers or airbrush. When you want to give etching effect or you want to texturize the paints, you can use the palette knife. And you have several other found objects, like you can use even the spoons for texture. You have several other found objects also can be used for painting. Now we can see materials used on surfaces on which the mark is made. So by using all the other medias, that is dry paints, wet paints, and the tools used, those medias are used on the surfaces. You need a surface where you want to paint. So that surface is not only the paper, but several other surfaces also can be used. For example, paper, glass, fabric, plastic, metal, wood, drafting paper, anything can be used for painting. Almost any type of wet or dry material can be used as a painting or drawing surface. Depending on the material and the agent used to thin the paint or cleanse a painted surface. Most surfaces need a special coating of paint or primer to prevent oil paint from seeping into the surface material. So, depending on the type of painting you are doing, you have to select the surfaces as well as the paints. So these are tools and equipments used for working on the wet and working with the wet and dry materials. You can use the you want a support for placing the paper, so you want a support for placing the cardboard. These are nothing but the support used. So you can use the first one is easel, second one is drawing board, third one is T-square, and you have a palette. These are the supporting materials which are used for working with the wet and dry materials. Almost any type of wet and dry materials can be used as a painting or drawing surface, depending on the material and the agent used to thin the paint or cleanse a painted surface. So, depending on the material, you have to decide which type of board you want and which type of paints you want. Tools and equipments, materials used for sculpture and 3D products. So many artists, like for pottery, for sculpturing, for carving, you need several other surfaces also. So several other materials are also used to give 3D effect, such as the clay can be used for pottery, plaster of Paris is used for making the sculptures, or even the for painting. For example, in tempera, plaster of Paris is mixed with the paint for painting on the walls, and even the metal engraving, wood can be carved on the glass, etching can be done, and then glass painting can be done on, even the fabrics can be painted, the plastics are painted, and the sand can be painted and then used for texturizing. The papers, different types of papers are used, and even the stone can be added with this, because the sculpturing is done with the stone. You have several specialized tools which are used for clay modeling, wood carving, and then welding, construction tools. All these tools are also used for painting, clay modeling, sculpturing, etc. The clay modeling tools usually have different types of knives. Kiln is nothing but for heating the clay pots and all, and then burning the clay pots, in fact, to give strength to it. And the wood carving it also has the sharp tools which is used for carving tools, and then welding materials is for usually used for metals. And the last is the construction tools. These tools like saw, and then welding materials, and then spanner, all these you cutter are used for, even for artwork also. These are specialized tools which are needed for an artist. This is the latest technology used by the artists, because in today's world, computer plays a very important role and everything is digitized. So you all need to know digitization and working with the computer. Computer and digital equipments for capturing, creating, manipulating, and displaying images. So you need equipment such as computers, graphic softwares, and the LCD projector for doing such artwork. As technology continues to change and access improves, students and artists have many opportunities to use computers and digital equipments and softwares. Various equipments and technologies may be incorporated when appropriate for capturing, creating, manipulating, and displaying images. So, CAD, that is computer aided designing, is a must for an artist because nowadays everything is digitalized. You all need to know several artist softwares where you can sketch not only on the paper, on the sheet in a computer. So, this is latest technology which is very necessary for each and every person, in fact. Thank you so much, guys. Today we have learned about different tools and equipments which are required for drawing and painting. Thank you.